about something we've never talked about before, ever.
Well, for a little while.
Just
So it's
fucking
episode 460. So when you're ready.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's episode number 460 of the Mailright Podcast. We are so excited to bring you something we've never done before, he says, ironically. We are going to talk about video. Oh, but it is the first time in 2025 that we've dedicated an episode. Before we jump into it, I am joined by my amazing co-host, the founder of the Mailright Show, the founder of Many Businesses, the founder of the WP Tonic podcast, the one, the only Jonathan Dinwood. What would you like to say about yourself, sir?
Oh, thank you so much, Robert. Yeah, it's a slightly different show because we've discussed the importance of video quite a bit, but we're just going to give a little bit of guidance around the different types of video you might consider doing in 2025. I think you'll get some value from this, or a lot of value from it. Back over to you, Rob.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, those of you who like to take notes today, we're going to give you basically 10 video making tips. Okay, that's what this really is, video making tips. We're going to start off with number 1, and please, if you haven't already done so, take a moment, take a break, save the podcast, save your notepad, because you are going to want to write these down, especially with the subtext, or you're going to want to save this podcast and come back to it over time. Before we jump into the subject, John, I'm going to add a little oomph to it. I'm going to say that this year, as I've started talking to my customers, which I do once a year at the beginning of the year, every year, all my existing customers, in addition to the prospects that I usually talk to, and I am full of fresh data about the videos that have actually been producing deals. And for those that don't know, I run an SEO company. I've got about 150 very elite clients that are all doing all sorts of vertical, like all sorts of real estate. And I am freshly off conversations with about 10 of those customers. So I know what's working. I know it's working for them and where it's working. And we're going to share it with you as we go along here. So number 1, talking head videos. John, why is this on your list, sir?
Well, I think it's really popular in short form video, stuff that you see on TikTok, shorts on YouTube, Instagram.
Treat me like I'm an idiot. I'm so sorry, that's the wrong way to say that. Not an idiot. Just pretend I know zero about digital. What's a talking head video?
Well, I do quite a few of them for my other channel where I just look straight into the camera.
Okay. And we see those beautiful blue eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The stunning personality just comes over the camera, doesn't it? And you look straight into the camera and you talk about a subject, minimum editing, and it can be for a couple of minutes. Like I say, short form will be 30 seconds, and you just got one quick observation, one quick tip. It's like you're kind of reporting on the road. Like if I was doing it as a real estate agent, it'd be just talking about things that happen during my day, things I've observed about the local market. But it should be quick, one point, right to the point, you looking at the camera.
Okay. What kind of camera? Would you do this at your desk or using like a mobile camera on a gimbal or something? How would you specifically do it?
Both. You can use a webcam, but probably I'd just be using my phone and just looking straight in it. And like we've discussed, the main thing is get the sound decent. That's the main thing that will stop people from watching it, is if the sound's rubbish. That's about the rest of it. Just keep it simple, but obviously just one topic and get it over, and it's short form video.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to add a little bit to that. Talking head videos do a good job. They keep your audience updated. So for those of you who already have an audience or an email marketing list, I might consider doing a talking head video to entertain them. I would absolutely do a talking head video to update my reels. For those of you who are a little bit more advanced into social media, and you probably are wondering what is the differences or advantage of doing this type of content, I love talking head content when I have 2 minutes, I have something important to say that I've thought of because I'm ADHD, and I will throw it onto a talking head video. I will send it over to my editing team and say, this is a reel, and forget about it. And the next thing I know, about a week later, I'm seeing 10, 20, 50 extra views on my channel from what was literally 2 minutes worth of work for me. So they have their place, talking head videos. You can also do long form talking head videos. I only recommend these in the rare case that you are truly an expert in a very defined niche and you have something extremely important to communicate to your audience, at which point a talking head video becomes low effort, low cost, and high impact. All right, moving on to number 2 on John's list, because John is the producer of the show. He produces the questions. But this does happen to be a subject that I have a lot to contribute with. So long form market update videos. Oh boy, do I have a lot to say about this. Let's let you go first.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite really of the short form, really detailed orientated, probably once a month, or once a quarter, going into what is really happening in the local market, what is selling, what isn't, what are the market trends, what are the new developers, what are going on in the mortgage market, just generally where the market is, what type of properties are selling, what aren't, everything thrown in, but, long form, 30 minutes plus, just a load of information. You can also use it to help you formulate your monthly newsletter and throw it in. It all works together. Over to you, Rob.
So some of the greatest realtors in the country by production, some of the best realtors in Canada by production, use this type of update. Ryan Serhant uses this type of update. Tom Ferry uses this type of update. Please do not underestimate the value of your particular voice sent to your clients once a month, a well thought out market update. And when I say well thought out, John hit a whole bunch of really good points about well thought out. You go, what type of inventory is moving? Here in California, who was impacted the worst by the fires, and how has that impacted how people are communicating with you and what they are asking about? 1, people are fascinated. 2, they may be in the same position and may just not have called you. Giving out the solutions you've created for others is an incredibly potent market update. And it also does something for you. It allows people the opportunity to create a relationship with you and tune in over and over again, because there's many people who do only buy a home every 5 or 10 years, if not most. That does not necessarily mean they don't want to occasionally tune into what a qualified professional's opinion is. That's where these market updates make beautiful email marketing strategies. You can update them. You can also, as part of your marketing strategy, connect long form updates with email campaigns to say, subscribe to my YouTube channel. So you're automatically updated. You can connect social media along with email in terms of campaigns and use long form video updates as the core reason that everybody wants to do this. Just depends on how much time and energy you're spending and how good at it you're willing to get. Now here's one that's fire. Okay, fire. I have a great story, and I'm gonna share it after John. Why don't you start us off?
Yeah, you're talking number 3, new building and subdivision overall.
I am.
Overviews.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, got a very static market. It depends on what region you're doing business in. Obviously, Florida and some other markets are seeing some large changes as we speak. Other areas are seeing prices going up still. Other areas, just kind of static market, not really much activity, but where the activity is in new building, new subdivision, because the big housing builders are offering a lot of inducements to new buyers in basically subsidising interests for a couple of years and other packages. They have been very aggressive over the last 18 months because they've got a lot of housing they've got to move, and they've got the resources, the financial resources, so they can offer these inducements. So it's something you should be talking about in your videos. Over to you, Rob.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there are a new and burgeoning type of quote-unquote real estate marketing expert. And this expert type is creating landing pages and ideas surrounding only one principle, which is working with and targeting new development. Now, I have been hearing about this for the last couple of years, ever since inventory started to get tight. And I had a client call me and ask me about this type of idea. And we talked about it for a while, and it turned out that there was a brand new development with just a sign on the side of a field, and it was 20, 30 miles from his house. And he's like, what do you think, Robert? You think I should go out there this early on? There's nothing there. They haven't even created the brochures, but it was an established developer with a history. So I'm like, yeah, why don't we find out what will happen? Go out there with a camera and take a picture of the fields and paint a picture. Get creative. Say, based on these past developments, here's what I would expect and how this would turn out. So he went out there with his sister, and it's just him in front of a freaking farm field, John, and a sign and a camera. That's it. There's nothing. I mean, there is not pre-development work happening. Nothing. A field. And we threw it on his site. And here's what we were thinking. All the developer had done is put up a sign next to a freeway. That's it. That's all they said. New development coming in, whatever, 2026, right? Some years away. No other advertising. No other conversation around it. So the thought was, well, let's see how hot real estate really is for new development, because it's just a sign. Really, that's the whole thing. So we threw it up on his website. And I'm not joking, John. This is a guy I've been doing business with for 4 years. We have already doubled the traffic on his website from this strategy, from this single page. He has hundreds of pages on the site. I've never seen a home run like this ever. There's no ancillary support work. There's no TV commercials. There's no radio. There's no anything. There is a sign on a freeway and him. That's it. And yet we've got 300 to 500 people per month coming in to his website. Why, might all of you ask? The developer hasn't even bothered to put up a page on their own website. So everybody's thinking that he knows something that the developer themselves does not. And needless to say, he doesn't, but here's what he's doing. He is getting out there and establishing a relationship with everybody before there's any other marketing, before there's any competition. He's the first voice to market, and he did a great job on painting a picture based on his opinions about past developers. So now he's in front of everybody, and it's going to be like 20,000 homes. It's a staggeringly large development, but it's also long plan. It's like a 10-year plan. So he's out there in front of everybody in this 10-year plan. It is very possible, John, that this one little move is making the rest of his career. Maybe. It could. Worked right. Do not underestimate the power of some of these ideas that we're giving you. Application and how you apply it is everything. New listings is number 4 on our list. So, John, help us out.
Well, it's the old favourite. You know, that's the great thing of being a real estate agent or realtor, is people can't get enough information about property. They just can't get enough of it. and people can't get enough about new listings in the up market, down market. They still watch stuff. They still want to know what's new on the market. Talking about new listings, showing, is the price, if it's a listing that you're representing, or it could be listings that you're not representing. You can still talk about them. So it's probably easier to be brutally honest when you're talking about other people's listings. Over to you, Robert.
Well, you know what? As long as you can get creative, listing data is always one of the greatest lead opportunities that you'll ever have. And it doesn't have to be your listing. That's the beautiful part about being a real estate agent. If you have a license and somebody's house is up for sale, generally speaking, you've got permission to go and market the hell out of it. You can do whatever you want with it, just like Zillow does. Everybody is creating a lot of leads off listings. Here's the thing, though. A lot of what's been done has been done, and people don't pay attention to it. It is just another tree falling in the forest, and nobody hears it. So you've got to get a little creative. And I've talked a lot of times on this podcast about a creative 19-year-old that I met that made about $300,000 his first year in real estate, doing nothing but taking other people's listings and marketing them. What did he do? He took his phone, he went to a listing, somebody else's. So he just started to kind of pick and choose places in the MLS that he liked. And then he drove there with his car and he filmed a fast forward video. He just used an app on his phone so that you go like Keystone Cops all the way through the house, right? Real fast. And then he posted it to Instagram and tagged it. Nobody else was doing it. I still think nobody else is doing it. And it just looked interesting. It's the same listing. You can see the pictures online. He didn't do anything different. As a matter of fact, one could argue he did it worse. He just had an interesting approach to it. Last I talked to him, he'd done 19 transactions using that as his only lead source. Nothing else. Crazy, John. All right. Number 5.
Yeah, shall we go for our break first?
Should we? You're probably right. Yeah, we should. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be right back, and we're going to somehow blaze through number 6 because John and I suck at doing this stuff fast. But we're going to try. And so when we come back, what you've got ahead of you is FAQs in school. Actually, you know what? You've got 5 more ideas. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining the show. Today's show is sponsored by MailRite and Inbound REM. We're thrilled to have you. Welcome back. Today's remaining subjects, we're going to talk about 6 more ideas about how to create really great video content for realtors in 2025. So, wondering what X amount of budget will get in your city. I love this idea. I actually don't know anybody who's applying it. Did you capture this from somebody specific?
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but I did looking at other people's content and that. And I just think it's a great idea because everybody's got a budget. And if you can give them some examples of what a certain budget can get you in the market at the present moment, I think that's really watchable. Over to you, Rob.
And I love, listen, from a sales perspective, I would think that this idea is a high conversion idea. Giving somebody specific answers to what 500,000 will get them, touring, and then editing a video. I think this type of video would probably require a little bit of editing because a really well done one is going to be jumping into a couple house types that you could buy for about if it was here in LA, it would be 800,000 minimum. But whatever the number is median where you're at, that would be what you would do a few different examples of what it could buy you, and maybe even go so far as to get a couple of styles of houses, such as Mediterranean, Spanish. We have all of that in LA, in California, John. So I don't know if that would work for every single market, but if it does work, then you want to say you can buy a cabin for 500,000. You can buy a condo for 500,000. It's a great idea. And if it was me, I would have a channel that would have everything. Eventually I would have a video that would cover the entire budget range that I typically sold, from 500,000 all the way up to 1.5 million. Doing it in $100,000 increments. All right, FAQs, frequently asked questions. I love these because they're so easy, and I'm going to jump right into it. So ladies and gentlemen, a little known hack when it comes to everything is you can always find what the most commonly asked questions are, especially in today's world of AI. All you need to do is enter a search. An example would be questions people ask about buying a condo in Margaritaville. Okay, so I'm picking a community in Florida that I'm familiar with, but obviously is very far away from me, and I don't know what the answer to these. So what we get immediately is a whole bunch of drop downs. Are Margaritaville homes a good investment? That's the #1 question people ask, because what you see is Google puts a thing there that says people also ask, and then you get a couple of blog posts, and then you get Reddit. And then all the questions right now are Margaritaville homes a good investment? There's 3 or 4 of them. So obviously the #1 thing that people talk about is, are Margaritaville homes a good investment? You can make a video around that. So easy to do FAQs and start with the #1 question. All right, John, over to you.
I've got nothing to say. Shall we go on to the next one?
Oh, yeah, okay. Schools and other local information targeted at those who are moving out from out of state. Well, I obviously took up the microphone for a while, so why don't you start us off?
Yeah, keep it short. You know, it's another natural, isn't it? If people are thinking of moving into area, either they're moving in state, or they're normally moving out, from outside the state, or they're moving into the city or whatever. They want to know the schools, they want to know about the local employers, the local facilities, they want to know about the area. It's just a natural for a real estate agent, isn't it? Over to you, Robert.
All right, so schools and other information. So once again, I did this a long time ago with a guy by the name of Raymond Petkevis, and what we did is we went to a school called the Appoquinimink School District. We grabbed the camera. We managed to make an appointment with the assistant principal because you had to have permission to come on the campus. We sat down, talked to her, filmed the video. 6 years later, it's still one of the most searched videos for Appoquinimink. Yeah, no joke. Like, we just sat there, talked to her for 20, 30 minutes, and it's still ranking his website. This is a great idea, especially for tight communities. #8, the latest interest rates and financial news.
Yeah. Well, you just had that yesterday with the Fed. Keeping, people can't get enough of it. And in a market where, people are very sensitive for interest rates, talking about this is a natural. Over to you, Rob.
I mean, you could have a podcast to all the mortgage brokers that are part of my social groups and such. I mean, dude, they're online almost every other day. There's so much news related to interest rates, not the least of which is interest rates come down and loans go up. And so there's so much dialogue around what's going on in this particular vertical. I would have to say that if you are even slightly numerically inclined, it would be the easiest thing in the world to create a couple videos of the talking head format or sitting at your desk and just making some commentary about these notes. And by the way, if you decide to do that, please explain to me how the prime rate can go down and everybody's rates can go up. I'd love to hear 10 different versions of that answer. All right, #8. What?
It's #9, actually.
Oh, #9, my bad. Pro and con videos connected to your area, town, and city. All right, John.
Yeah, well, it's another favorite, isn't it? People love to hear the pros and cons of a particular area. They just love it. You know, there's a few of those about Northern Nevada. And I just don't think people can get enough of them. Back over to you, Rob.
I agree. Pros and cons is one of my favorite video formats. It's neutral, so you're never really tanking anybody. I use pros and cons formats in it when I go traveling. I wrote a review on the Devil's Pulpit, and it's got like 25, 30,000 people that have read that review so far. It's a feature in Wales, of all places, John. And strangely, I did a pros and cons, and that made it the most read review that there was, because the pros were, you know, an unbelievable scenery, but the cons were you were traipsing through people's cow fields that were actually more bog than field. So the getting to the spot was insanely complicated, and it didn't say that when it was like, oh, it's a short walk through some fields. I'm like, okay, woo! And that's why you do pros and cons. All right, number 10, 7 things to consider before buying in your question mark.
Area, town, city. It's another can't go wrong, really. You know, a list of the things. People love lists generally, don't they? And if you can knock through 7, you know, to consider before buying, you know, especially aimed at the new buyer, the very inexperienced buyer, I think they can get value from that. And it's just natural, isn't it, Rob?
It is indeed. And I agree. Listicles, at one point, there's a joke on like some show that I watch, American Dad or something like that. That was basically saying, oh my God, all the internet marketing is anymore is listicles. That's it. That's the full scope of what we do. And they're not wrong. I've got like 5 blog posts that have reached 500 elements, because every time like my blog writer team, my blogging team looks around, they go, well, somebody beat us. They have 200 slogans or 200 this or 200 memes or and so we're going to do 500. And I'm like, oh my God, this is out of hand, but okay. All right, but they work. That's the thing. They work. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a fast podcast today. I think we're going to wrap it up. It's for those of you who have the interest in some new ideas and would like some expert advice, I'm going to recommend that you talk to me or John. So John, if you'd like somebody to touch base with you, how would you like them to do that?
Yeah, just quickly before, if anybody says that they got no idea to make a video on, you just need to listen to this video. There's plenty of ideas out there on the subjects of making your video. That isn't the problem. And if you want, the easiest way is just go to the mel-wright.com website, have a look at what we got to offer, and if you want to chat about anything, you can book a quick chat with me, and it's totally free. Back over to you, Rob.
All right, beautiful. I also have lots of resources on inboundrem.com, and if you'd like to check those out or schedule a call, and I will be happy to spend some time and walk you through what I feel is best based upon wherever you're at with your marketing strategy. You can do that at inboundrem.com/about, ABOUT, and you'll find a way to touch base with me and learn more about me and my company. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the show. I'm so excited and happy and thankful. It's been a hell of a week for me. I've been getting my butt kicked, which means that I get more grateful every day for the things that I've got. So I hope your days are great. I hope all of you are doing well. John, I really wish that for you. Whenever you're ready, take us offline, sir.